Frankie's got a new champion. Hopefully, he finally put some respect on him. And yeah, big power is good, but only if you can hit someone with it. Hey, what's up, fight nerds? Let's talk about this. Welcome to Enter the Nerd. We're going to talk about UFC 265, which just passed. That was in Houston, Texas this past weekend. So, couple crazy fights, definitely in the main card and even in the prelims that we're going to talk about. So, yeah, let's just get to it. First up on the main card, Song Yadong and Casey Kenny. Now, this was a very good back and forth fight. Tons of action for, I guess, a lot of the casual fans who just love a mostly stand-up fight. The issue is, it was a mostly stand-up fight, right? Casey Kenny is definitely someone who benefits from more grappling, specifically on the wrestling side. And it seemed like he kept charging in and was just running into a lot of what Song Yadong was offering in terms of striking. I think if he just kind of like slowed it down, mixed it up, confused him, and possibly just mixed in a lot more grappling from the waist down, you definitely would have seen some different things happen with that. But they kind of played in Song Yadong's favor, and that's why the decision was what it was. Next, TECIA TORRES versus Angela Hill. Now, apparently there was some type of beef with this because they already fought in 2015, and apparently Angela Hill was saying some stuff about her body being different post-USADA, you know, pretty much insinuating she was on PEDs of some sort because of how her body looks, whatever. Now, you heard the build-up to the fight. Angela was talking about, you know, I'm going to hit her harder and blah. Usually when I hear stuff like that, it worries me because I like to hear more of a strategic approach rather than I'm just going to hit you really hard. And then when I watch this fight, I see some things because TECIA, clearly, athletically, her abilities were just greater. Just based off of that, even if she wasn't skilled, she was faster. She can get from point A to point B faster than Angela could even react to it. That was just a big story of the fight. So when that happens, you have to start playing smarter. You have to counter. You have to place your body in certain positions to where if you know this person's going to be a little faster than you, you have to be able to go, all right, so if that punch is coming, I'm already going to be here. That's pretty much one of the things you have to do. You have to become a counter fighter, especially with a person that's faster and possibly even stronger than you, because TECIA was also ragdolling her a bit. She didn't even move her head off line too much, so TECIA kind of had her way with her, to be quite honest. And she should have kind of just went with a bit of a bum rushing approach, and what I mean by that is getting her to the cage and getting her in those clinch positions where Angela is actually the best at. Now, TECIA was having some luck in there too, but it'd be better if those positions were more and more and more for Angela. That would have been better for her. That's just my opinion, and that's why TECIA got the win in that one too. Next, VICENTE LUQUE and Michael Chiesa. Now, I think the story going into this was if it stays standing up for too long, it's going to be Luque's fight. And if it goes to the ground, it's automatically Chiesa's fight. And I understand why people think that, especially because you see Chiesa on the ground. You understand his jiu-jitsu is very, very good. His grappling in general just is. And he has the body type for it. Like, I don't know if anyone's ever rolled with someone who's built like that, tall with very long arms. It's like wrestling with a spider monkey or grappling with a spider monkey. It's uncomfortable, right? It really is. And he has the perfect body type for it. And Luque is really known for, you know, getting into like striking wars. So you figured, all right, that's a tale of that fight. Funny enough, though, as soon as it got to the ground, even though you saw several attempts and several advancements of Chiesa on his back, I'm going to tell you something. Luque obviously did not look lost down there. And it's not a coincidence. Who is he training with? Gilbert Burns and his brother. Like, he's training with people who are championship jiu-jitsu guys. I mean, come on. Come on. So it's not really out of the norm for him to be in that position, most likely during in training. But then what was beautiful was when after he got out of getting his back controlled, he immediately went into the darts. One of the best things about a high-level jiu-jitsu guy is, one of the same things as a high-level striking thing, is the timing. How fast, the sense of urgency, when they see the opening, how much do they jump on it? And if you see that last transition, there's maybe a half a second when he just jumps on him with the darts, and then when Chiesa attempts to get out, he rolls through with it immediately. That instinct, that is what makes a great grappler, or really just a great fighter. Just understanding, like, right there is when you get it, and making the next best decision, like processing the information and using that information quickly like that. And that was awesome submission. And yes, he's probably going to be, I mean, if he goes to fight Usman next, that'd be questionable for me. I get it, he's exciting, but I mean, there's so many people who have done some things. He needs to fight, I think, one more person before going over there. But he should definitely be respected, absolutely. So great win for LUQUE. Next, we got Jose Aldo and Pedro Munhoz. Now, Pedro Munhoz, obviously, I mean, he's come off of quite a few fights. I mean, I remember the last fight he had with Frankie Edgar. Frankie Edgar was pretty much just moving on him. I remember he had some great footwork in there. Now, Pedro Munhoz is obviously top level. He keeps himself in a top 10 constantly because he's excellent. But Jose Aldo on this night, now, we know him. He has this championship career, even if he hasn't had the belt the whole time. But he's just been a champion. He's always been fighting at a super high level. Tonight, man, he made sure people remember. Now, mind you, this was at 145 when he was a champion and had most of his best work. And at 135, people were worried because of the weight cut and everything, and rightfully so. He's not necessarily the biggest guy, and you're cutting 10 pounds off of him, but he looks great. He's moving great. He's able to fight without being winded. And one of the things that got me in this fight was the combinations that he was putting together and how much he was actually still throwing these leg kicks, because he stopped doing that for a while. But he was literally hitting, like 3 times in a fight, he hit Pedro with like 2-1-2s right behind another 1-2, 1-2. So 4 straight shots, and it was like, and Pedro just couldn't even move his head out the way. It was nuts. He looked great in this fight, and it's like he always reminds you like I can always compete for a title, always. And I love that about Jose Aldo, and it's great that we can still see it. I hope Pedro, you know, he bounces back, and he's always gonna be right there. But I wonder if he'll ever make it over the top. But we'll see it. Good win for Jose Aldo. Great win, actually. Before we get to the main event, there's a couple of fights I want to talk about, specifically between Bobby Green and Rafael FIZIEV. Hopefully I got his first name right. But that was an excellent fight because FIZIEV is supposed to be kind of like the up-and-comer, and I've been paying attention to him since even a little bit before last year, and like he is excellent at like excellent striking, good footwork, good combinations. Like he is really, really good. And what was crazy was, you know, Bobby Green is, you know, looking like more like the veteran. That's what they were trying to paint with that, but he looked great in it. Definitely, like, even though he was keeping his hands down, definitely moving the head out the way, striking in a way where it makes the most sense. Like doing a ton of things, even baiting him into keeping him at a certain distance. Like I loved it. I loved that fight. Now the judging there was what the real talk about in this fight, because one of them had 30-27, where clearly Bobby Green won the last round by a landslide. Like it was even on the scorecard. The scorecard, it didn't make any sense, but somebody had FIZIEV winning all 3 rounds. If you're saying that FIZIEV won the fight, I'm good with that, you know? 2 rounds to 3, okay. If you wanna go there. But to say that Bobby Green lost all 3, somebody's drinking. Somebody's drinking on the job. Now for the main event, because of Jose Aldo and the Pedro Munhoz was the main event there. I'm sorry, co-main event. Amanda Nunes and Amanda Pena was supposed to be, you know, that was supposed to be the co-main, but obviously Amanda had COVID, so that wasn't a thing. So moving on now to Derrick Lewis and CIRYL GANE. Now CIRYL GANE was the clear betting favorite here, and if you understand anything about their fighting styles, you understand why. CIRYL's a more complete guy out of the 2. He can pretty much be good anywhere on the ground, standing up, and it doesn't just rely on one-punch power. It doesn't really have that, but he is powerful. He's 240 pounds, and he moves around so well. Derrick Lewis, even though he's not technical of any sort, his power has gotten him through a lot of very difficult opponents. Like, you know, Alexander Volkov would pretty much beat his ass for the entire fight until he got that one punch. The issue with that is sometimes it creates that expectancy even within the fighter that all I gotta do is just wait. I gotta just wait, I'm gonna get that one. But until then, you're down 1 round, 2 rounds, 3 rounds. And it could be over, especially when you have a person who's never going to give you that window to get that punch open. And that is what CIRYL GANE did. That window was never open. It was never open. And he made sure the window was bolted shut when he finished him after he threw a leg kick that really hurt him. And then he threw a barrage, which the key punch after that was definitely an uppercut. After that, Derrick kind of crumbled up, finished with some ground and pound, and it was there. Now, obviously, a lot of people say there was a lot of pressure on Derrick Lewis because, you know, him being in his hometown. I get it, but I don't think he had the tools to beat him in the first place. He never did. The power is one thing, but you got to be able to land it. And when someone has great footwork, like you see what a lot of people who have excellent footwork. It's very hard to hit them because they get in, like one of like the biggest fundamentals about just striking, boxing, whatever you want to make sure you get in to deliver your strikes and get out, so then when the return is coming, you are not there. It's very fundamental. A lot of guys in mixed martial arts don't get it. They just want to stay in, and that's when they get clipped. That happens a lot. Instead of just 1, get out, 1, 2, get out, 1, 2, 3, get out. Things like that. And then mixing it up with the leg kicks, because a lot of times everybody stays top heavy. They'll stay top heavy instead of going leg kicks, doing anything with the body. Set it up, giving the other fighter something to think about. And that's something that CIRYL GANE does very well, which is also why he's a betting favorite over Ngannou. Because yes, Ngannou has gotten much more patient, and he's got the power, and he's athletic, but he's not really that technical. He's not. And if CIRYL GANE does not get hit and can move around and get away from some of those glancing shots, it's gonna be a long night for Ngannou too, because CIRYL definitely has the better cardio of the two. And if he can just sit there and piece him up, because if you get hit too much by someone like that, he's gonna finish you. And that's evident. Now, I can't wait to see that. They used to be teammates. There's obviously the story going behind it. Obviously, this is France's first champion. So both of them coming together is gonna be an excellent fight. And a lot of people, they're gonna like it because you know it's gonna be striking. They're not wrestling. These two are not wrestling, unless maybe CIRYL decides to, try to submit him. But I hope Ngannou understands this. And I hope that CIRYL GANE does not do something stupid like, one of the biggest things that Ngannou does to win, he just kind of comes in like one track and people just stay there. But obviously if he's being patient, he might want to sit there and pick his shots. The thing is, you cannot out-technique someone who has better technique than you do. And that will show. Will that patience work for him? Because this whole patient Ngannou thing, will that work if someone is sitting there chipping away at your leg and stuff like that, and then it makes him want to turn into a berserker, and then that might be the end of that. But yeah, that's weird. I kind of gave my prediction for what could happen, but who knows? But yeah, congratulations to CIRYL GANE. Derrick Lewis, once again, one of them guys probably gonna still be on the top 5 or whatever, because what he does will probably still work for a lot of the guys that are on the roster, unless they're like gone as well. So yeah, let me know what you think about the card. Do you think the card was awesome? Think it was man? What was your favorite fight? Let's talk about it in the comments. Until then, enter the nerd.